This is a traditional Chinese tea cake. And these are herbal tea cakes I just made out of European plants. But how did we get here? In my last video, we saw how Asia used centuries of technique to turn one single plant into a massive amount of different teas. Then we learned how Russia took those ancient methods and applied them to a completely different plant. Which brings us right here. We have the knowledge, we have the proof of concept. Let's see if we can take ordinary leaves, process them like traditional tea, and actually make something incredible. First, we need some plants. Okay, so we're now in the forest, and we just have to find fireweed. I'm going for fireweed leaves because it has already been validated in Russia, and I wanted to see if it could take on different Chinese processing methods. I always try to let a few leaves on each plant so it can grow back easily. And I mean, it's a win-win because I get to come back at the spot again in a few months to make another kind of tea. A thing you have to be careful about is that there's this plant called goldenrod, which really looks like fireweed, but it really isn't. Can you see how they differ? Okay, we have fresh leaves now, but what tea style should we go for? Since it's spring now, I decided to go for the white tea processing method, since this type of processing requires very young leaves that you only find in spring. Since we're dealing with wild plants, I had to first wash the leaves and pat them dry. Then I put them 15 minutes under the sun to get some UV stress on those leaves. After that, I just let them wilt in a well-ventilated place. Then you just dry them completely at 50 degrees in the oven, and it's finished. But here's the thing, it didn't taste very good. The taste was just like a dried herb, which felt very grassy in a sense. Not pleasant, not white tea as it is supposed to be. So what happened? We tried to impose that white tea method onto the plant, but what we should do is adapt this Chinese method to work on our plant. Usually, tea leaves, when they're left to wilt, undergo a little oxidation which transforms the smell from grassy to something a little more fruity. Here, because we get some of these grassy tones, it means we didn't have enough oxidation. So I decided to try this experiment again, using fireweed and raspberry leaves this time. But during the wilt stage, I did a little more bruising, which allowed some oxidation to happen. See, we're not bruising the leaves like we would do with black tea. I'm just pressing them lightly to create little rupture which stimulates light oxidation, kind of like oolong tea actually. I could smell that just by doing this, the smell was already a little more fruity, a little more floral, which indicates that some oxidation was happening. Then I put them in the oven again, 50 degrees, about 1 hour. And now the smell was much more different. It didn't smell grassy anymore, it was a little bit more sweet, a little bit more fruity. Now, to make sure we all understand what just happened. Because our leaves are not the same as the real tea plant, we had to make some changes to the process. Our plants did not undergo enough natural oxidation during wilting, and therefore gave us a grassy taste at the end. So we had to force our leaves to oxidize by lightly bruising them. This is a small but important change we had to make. But does it taste good? Is it better? Ooh, okay. So the taste transitioned from something a little grassy to something a little more floral and fruity. But what about the raspberry one? Very delicate and pleasant, and you get that little floral scent coming from the oxidation as well. I think I even prefer raspberry, actually. But it doesn't stop here, we can go even further. What's even more popular than white tea? Aged white tea. First, we need to steam our leaves to get them soft so they can be molded into cakes. I used a flour sifter to do this. Then you need to transfer them into a clean sock. Roll it into a very tight ball and, using the weight of your body and 2 clean planks or cutting boards, smash the leaves into a cake, making sure to rotate and repeat this 1 or 2 times so it compacts evenly. I must say it was a little bit harder than I expected, but once I got the hang of it, the second one was much better. Then I made sure they were dried by putting them again in the oven. From what I've seen online, it is better to age them in a closed environment within humid conditions. And the best way to do that is by using a Bovido pack. This little packet enables you to maintain a specific amount of humidity within a controlled environment. That's exactly what we want. It's also used by people that age their own cigars. The idea is that keeping the humidity at 62% allows for slow oxidation and light microbial activity, which will transform the flavors to something less grassy and bitter, and develop some sweet, almost dry fruit aromas with a smoother mouthfeel. This should take about 6 months to a year to notice interesting results. Maybe it will mold, maybe it will turn into something amazing. I don't know yet. Let me know what you think, and I'll maybe post some updates if you're interested. I believe we can't really transfer all of the techniques onto our local plants because they don't have the same chemistry. But I do think it is possible to push the boundaries of what's currently possible in the West. We just have to learn from other cultures and try to make sense of these techniques into our own environment. As always, if you want to start making your own tea, I made a free mini guide, which you can find in the description. And there's also my course if you want to go further into the art. Until the next, stay rooted.